It is the funniest show on television, bar none. A Modern Family on ABC, season 7. They're in the middle of it. The next episode is Wednesday, March 16th, and the man who plays the patriarch of the Modern Family, Jay Pritchett, Ed O'Neill, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you, Ed.
Good to see you, Rich.
What a pleasure to have you here in
Patriarch.
person.
I say, my, that went quickly.
You well, you've been the patriarch in a way of the Bundy family and now the Pritchetts.
Yeah.
But before we get to your television work, I want to go right straight to the meat of your football career.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Where you were part of Chuck Noll's first ever training camp. Is that a true story?
That is a true story.
Okay.
I was playing at my second university. I was sort of asked to leave the first one, which was Ohio University, not to be mistaken with Ohio State.
Well, it would be the
Athens,
Ohio University.
The Ohio University, the
Right.
Bobcats. And I ended up back in my hometown at Youngstown State University. And I played there a couple of years, a little rocky, that's a whole other story. But then I ended up getting a call from the Steelers.
What were you playing? What was your position?
Well, I played lots of different positions in college. Middle guard, defense, tight end, linebacker, defensive end, whatever, you know.
Okay.
Because I had a strange size. I was like 6'1", and then I kept going up like 225, 240, 235. And I was a fairly fast guy. So they didn't know really quite where to put me. They'd put me wherever they needed me.
So you were just a plug-and-play guy.
Yeah. And then when I tried out for Pittsburgh in '69, it was Noll's first year. It was the only thing I could play would have been outside linebacker. So that's what I tried out for.
But who else was there in this training camp?
That training camp, Joe Green, Terry Hanratty, who was the quarterback from Notre Dame.
Sure.
I think Mac Wagner was there.
Was L.C. Greenwood in this?
L.C. Greenwood was a rookie.
So these are the rookie class.
Rookie class,
You,
yeah.
Mean Joe Green.
Yeah.
L.C. Greenwood.
Yeah.
Was Rocky Blyer there?
Blyer was in Vietnam.
He was still in Vietnam.
Well, he had gone. He had played the year before.
Okay.
And he went.
And he went.
Then he came back. When he came back, I was unfortunately
You were not there.
Gone.
Okay, so Chuck Noll is a rookie head coach.
Rookie head coach.
Mean Joe Green is a rookie.
Rookie defensive tackle.
L.C. Greenwood is a rookie.
Defensive end.
And Ed O'Neill.
Rookie
Whatever
outside
you needed to be.
linebacker on the weak side. Or no, on the strong side.
Okay.
I was playing over the tight end.
My gosh.
Yeah.
So how did training camp go for you?
It actually went pretty good. I mean, I'll tell you a funny thing. When my father drove me down, because it was in Latrobe, PA, and when we got there, it was at St. Vincent's College. That's where the dorms were.
Right.
And so he was gonna, he helped me with my bag and made sure I got in the room. And when I went in my room, there was a plaster Paris cast of a girl's foot with a ring on the foot.
Okay.
And I thought, geez, I wonder who this could be, And it ended up a kid who actually made the team for a year as a defensive back. But when we walked down the stairs and we saw the guys milling around, my father said to me, you sure you want to do this? And he kind of said, you could just get in the car and we get out of here, I said, no, go ahead.
Quite the vote of confidence right there.
Yes.
That sounds like something that Jay Pritchett would say.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Right, I mean.
But it was okay. I mean, it was, I actually enjoyed it. And my problem was I had never played that position before. So I was trying to learn it and make the team at the same time.
And so what happened? When did the Turk, if you will, come visit you?
I was there for 2 weeks.
And then did Chuck Noll personally tell you that?
Yes. So I made it beyond what they do when they originally start cutting. I don't know if it's still the same way. This was a while ago.
Sure.
They put a list, and if your name is not on it, you're cut. Then you just go home. So I went beyond that. So then I got the,
knock on the door.
Would you bring your playbook? Coach Noll would like to see you. So then, you're gone.
Right. And then what happened? What did he say?
He was very nice. I mean, he was a very, very, very polite guy. And he just, he gave me the nice, soft way out. He said, look, you don't know the position. This is my first year, too. I need to start showing something right away.
Yes.
And I actually think he said I could go to the Eagles. He said, I can make a call. You could go down the road. The Eagles are hurting, which they were that year. And I thought, I'm done.
You did?
Yeah, I'm done. I had knee problems, and I was sick of football. I had played for 2 different colleges, and I said, I want to do something else.
And then was that something else acting, Ed, at that point?
It became acting probably within a year.
Within a year?
I had done it in high school, but I never, it's the thing, it never occurred to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day it occurred to me. So,
Acting?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, people ask me how I got involved in it, and I say, I don't really know. I don't really remember.
But Chuck Knoll was the one who essentially started you, in a way,
Well,
on your acting
Chuck
career.
Knoll, if I had made the team, my life would have been probably different, probably for the worst,
Because, as your dad said, are you sure you really
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would see these guys in the training room, and before practice, and they were like, what we call zippers, scars, shoulder scars, knee
Sure.
scar, wrist scar. And I think, well, if that's them, it's going to be me. And so, yeah.
So if you're from Youngstown, do you know the DeBartolo family and all
Sure.
those folks? I mean,
Well, they were from the south side. I was from the north side. The
Okay.
big family on the north side were the Cafaros.
Okay.
They did the same thing. They built malls. And they were sort of in competition. So Eddie went to Cardinal Mooney and eventually Notre Dame. I went to Ursuline. These were the 2 Catholic schools in Youngstown.
Okay.
And we were competitors. So, but I met Eddie, a couple of times socially, but I never really knew him.
and now he's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah, good for him.
He's finally,
Good for him,
and
yeah.
obviously you are a Youngstown guy who has made good as well. So what was the big? I'm here with Ed O'Neill in person here on the Rich Eisen Show. What was your big break then? What was the big break for you? Was it Married with Children essentially, or?
Well, I went to New York from Youngstown, and I was doing a lot of theater. And I did Broadway, off-Broadway, regional theaters, and so forth. And I was doing a play at Hartford Stage called Mice and Men, which is not a comedy, by the way. And I was playing Lenny,
Okay.
which is the retarded fella. I guess that's the best way to put it. And then a casting director from L.A. was visiting his aunt, went to the show, and then liked the play, liked me, and then a year later they're casting Married with Children, and they can't get the Bundy guy. And this guy's name was Hirschfeld, and he said, guys, you're going to think I'm nuts, but I saw an actor a year ago in a drama that I think he could do this, and they almost fired him. And I happened to be out there at the time for a failed pilot, and they called me in. I was playing handball at the Hollywood Y, and I showed up with my glove with the bag, my bag with the gloves hanging all of it, and it was Levitt and Moyer. What the hell is that? And so we started talking in the office, and then they had me audition. They said, would you mind reading? And I said, no, that's what I do all the time. And I saw the guy as my uncle, one of my uncles.
Al Bundy, you're saying?
Yeah, he was like, and the guy was a judge, but he reminded me of this guy. And what I mean is, I guess apparently most of the guys that read for it were doing it like Jackie Gleason in The Honeymooners, yelling and mad. Well, my uncle was like resigned. Life was going to be bad.
Resigned, I love it.
So, we'd be like, he'd get home from work and he'd come in the house, and my aunt, his wife, would say, Joe, I ran over the dog in the driveway today, he's dead. And Joe would say, what's for dinner? So it was sort of like that, right? That's how I read it, and they had not heard that tact,
Interpretation.
No, they had not heard that. And they went, well, that's kind of funny. And anyway, long story short, that's what happened. I get on that?
And then you got the gig. So in a way, Al Bundy is born out of Lenny of Mice and Men, in a way.
And the other thing too, when the guy running things for Fox at that time, Barry Diller.
Yes, I've heard of him.
Apparently, and I think the story is true, when they auditioned Katie and I together, then they have a meeting. They do the meetings.
Sure.
And Diller said, "You want my opinion? You got the gal. You can do a hell of a lot better for the guy." And they were a week before shooting. And then Levitt and Moy said, we kind of like him. Barry, this guy was powerful. We kind of like him. Your funeral.
Your funeral.
That's how I got into it.
Hey.
And then much later, I did the movie called Dutch, and he was involved in that, and he said, I made a mistake about you.
Well, we have our poll question today is based on your filmography as well as television career.
Yeah.
And we left Dutch off it, and the number of calls that we got to say you got to put it on it.
Oh, really?
there were several of them, Ed. There were like fans who were like tweeting at us and saying, "You've got to put Dutch on there."
That's a strange story too, which I won't bore you with. But the thing of it was John Hughes. John Hughes produced and written.
He
was great.
He's a genius.
He was great, and unfortunately, John and I had a kind of a silent falling out. When the movie opened, it didn't open.
Right.
It didn't make a dime, really. And John never called me, and he never called the director either. And then I went on Letterman, and Letterman asked me how I liked working with John, and I said, "Great guy. Wouldn't want to be in a bar with him and get in trouble." Why is that? I said, "He's out the back door." So that didn't go. We never spoke after that either. By the way,
it didn't go very well from there.
No,
too.
but it was true.
Yeah.
So that was kind of. But it was a good experience. It was a hard movie to make. But these things happen.
Well, when we come back, we'll have you vote on your own poll question.
Okay.
And Ed O'Neill is here on the Rich Eisen Show. Yes, indeed. Mr. Al Bundy himself, based on his uncle. I had no idea about that story. What
Uncle
a fun
Joe.
story. We'll talk about some MMA when we come back. 'Cause I know you're locked in on that front too. Ed O'Neill, when we come back here on the Rich Eisen Show in a minute.
Try to separate them.
Multiple Emmy Award and Golden Globe nominee Ed O'Neill right here on the Rich Eisen Show. So just to wrap up the Married with Children, did you ever meet Sinatra? Ever? At any point?
No, I saw him a number of times.
I mean, to have that as the theme to the show.
Apparently, he used to bitch about that because he never got residuals. He had sold the rights to that song.
Oh, and then.
And never got.
And the draft was in Chicago, and the number of people that would see the fountain in Grant Park.
That's right. It was lifted from the movie.
Is that so?
What's the Chevy Chase thing? From Vacation.
Okay.
They lifted it from the opening credits of that movie.
No kidding.
Yeah. If you look hard enough, you'll see their car leaving Chicago to take that vacation. Yeah.
No. You mean
you'll see it.
The Married with Children?
The Married with Children, we stole that right off Vacation.
But they couldn't shoot, with Barry Diller's money. They couldn't shoot.
With the fountain,
Yeah, no, they couldn't shoot their own shot of the fountain.
I don't know why they did that, but they did.
Go figure that.
You'll see the car if you look carefully.
My two guys in the Chris Command Center right now we've lost them for this part of the interview. They're now on their laptops. So I know you are a big boxing and MMA guy, and I know you're friends with Kriegel, a colleague at the NFL Network. There's a picture he put out recently on his social media account of you, him, and Boom Boom Mancini.
Oh yeah, Ray.
There it is up on the television screen right there. How do you know Ray Mancini?
Well, Ray and I are from Youngstown. And I knew his mom, I knew his dad, I knew his sister. They used to go to the local Y, and I used to play handball. His mom and sister were racquetball players.
Right.
So I knew the family for years.
And so, what about his career do you think stands out?
Well, just a really tough guy. And he had an older brother who was even, and he'll say it, a better fighter. Unfortunately, he died tragically, but Ray was a great, tough Youngstown guy.
Okay. Why do you think the fight game right now doesn't have the same pizzazz?
Oh my God. Well, it's basically done. In my opinion, it's done. Well, first of all, there's no more fighters. So there's no more great trainers. There's no more teachers. There's no more fight clubs. There's no more. I think in '41 there was. I'm guessing maybe 10,000 licenses issued in the state of New York. Today, there's not 10,000 in the country. So there's nobody fighting. So you can't have any great fighters today. You can't. Mayweather's not a great fighter. Pacquiao's not a great fighter. Well, they can't be. They're good athletes, but they can't because there's no one to fight. They fight once a year. If you took, say, for example, Bernard Hopkins in his prime, 26 years old, what would his record be? 28-2. 22 knockouts, fighting Ray Robinson in his prime, same age. Robinson's record, 91-1, 74 knockouts. Against guys like LaMotta, Fritzy Zivic. Who's going to win that fight? It's like fighting a child.
Right.
All those guys, they talk about Mayweather's 49-0. Harry Greb was 48-0 in 1918, alone. He won 48 fights in 1 year.
So Mayweather, if you
1 year.
So if you take Mayweather now and put him in another era, you think?
Forget it. I could name you 25 guys who weren't champs that would have knocked him out.
No kidding.
25, off the top of my head.
So he's chosen the right era in which to apply his craft.
For sure. Charlie Burley out of Pittsburgh would have destroyed him. The other guy would have beat him, a good trainer. Oh, jeez. I forget his name right now. But there's so many guys.
I mean, you're naming
Billy Graham would have beat him. Gavilan would have beat him.
You don't mean the Reverend when you say Billy Graham, right?
No, not the Reverend,
just want
no.
to make sure we're on the same page on that front. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so then in the MMA now, I'm here with Ed O'Neill, Modern Family on ABC, here on the Rich Eisen Show. MMA, what do you think of the current MMA game? I mean, right now with UFC 196 just went down. I assume you saw what was going on.
I missed that.
You did.
I missed it, but I heard all the the whole thing. I like this Conor McGregor. When I heard he was fighting at 170, I thought this is a big mistake. Mm-hmm. That's 2 weight classes. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. Especially if you've never fought at 170.
Right.
Because then it's not the guy in front of you that you're worried about. It's you at 170.
Right, sure.
That you've run out of gas in 2 rounds. So that's what happened to him. I think he got exhausted trying to knock this guy out who was too big.
Right. Now, do you do this yourself?
I do jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu with the Gracies down in Torrance for 20 years, over 20.
20 years.
Yeah.
I'm told by others that you are quite accomplished at this, Ed.
Well, I'm a black belt, and it took me 16 years to get it.
16
Yeah,
years.
it came naturally to me. But no, I train with Rorion Gracie and his sons, and Hoyce,
Right.
and Hoyce is a good friend, and
Right.
and it's an interesting thing, Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
For those who may not know what that is?
Well, it's sort of like judo, but it's more martial art than judo.
Okay.
So in other words, there's stuff in jiu-jitsu that's illegal in judo. Different chokes, and
Okay.
different joint locks, and so forth.
Different joint locks.
Different joint locks.
Fantastic. What do you think of Ronda Rousey, Ed O'Neill?
I tell you the truth, I'm not a fan of Ronda Rousey.
Why is that?
Well, I just think she's a bit sadistic. And she broke that girl's arm, Tate. I didn't think that was, you don't have to do that. This is not somebody who's trying to rape you or steal your money. Mm-hmm. This is an athletic event. If I catch someone in an arm lock and they're controlled to where I know they're not getting out, mm-hmm. you don't have to break the arm, mm-hmm. Or tear it out of the joint. It's people who want to do that, there's a couple of others that have done that too. Mm-hmm. And I don't like it.
So what do you what's it like in the Ed O'Neill household, or where do you take these events in?
I watch most of the time by myself.
You watch?
Yeah.
Why?
I just like to concentrate on it. I don't like to be with I've tried with other people, and it's distracting, yelling, and I just want to watch.
But there's a sociable aspect to it.
I know, I'm not in it for sociable.
So what about the Super Bowl? Do you watch?
The Super Bowl, I usually don't care too much about anymore. I mean, I'll be around, but I don't care. I don't care.
No, really?
No.
So there's no.
No, if I never see another screen pass, I'll be okay.
Because you've been there and done that? Is that what it is?
Sort of. I guess that must be it. Uh-huh. I just think it's such a spectacle now, the Super Bowl, with the entertainment, the halftime, the interviews that all sound the same. And I mean, to me, it's boring to me anymore. Yeah.
So
I never liked it. I mean, towards the end, part of the reason I wanted out of football was that I didn't like, generally speaking, coaches. I had a hard time with coaches.
Seems like, because you've kind of quickly glossed over your collegiate career about being asked to remove yourself from your place of residence at the Ohio University.
I just could never figure it out. I thought, is this my father, or is this someone who doesn't like me? It's not. He's not interested in my best interests here.
Sure.
I found that to be true too often. And
with directors too, sometimes in your craft.
Well, directors usually you're sort of you're in and out. You're not it's not the same relationship as with a football coach. The same is true. The baseball coach is not the same as a football coach.
Did you try baseball too?
I did play baseball. I love baseball, and I went as far as what they call Class B.
Okay.
Little League, Pony League, Class B. The rest is Double A. I never got, because at that point my father said, "You're going to work in the summer." You're going to play football or you're going to play baseball?
And what'd you do during the summer? What'd you do?
I worked at construction.
Just the construction?
Construction.
Ed O'Neill here on The Rich Eisen Show. Ask him the poll question, Chris Brockman. Ask this of Ed O'Neill. Go for it.
What's your favorite Ed O'Neill role? Married with Children, Modern Family, Little Giants, Wayne's World, you own Stan Mikita's Donuts, Blue Chips, or Dutch?
Did you forget that about Wayne's World right there?
I had.
He was in Wayne's World 1 and 2. You were in both. You're in both.
I know I did both of them. I played the same guy, right?
Yeah. You own the donut shop.
The whack job donut shop guy, yeah.
I love that we just jarred your memory.
No, that was
your own filmography.
You know, oftentimes I don't remember the names of the movies that I did. Like a lot of people thought I was in Deliverance. I get that a lot.
You mean the original Deliverance?
The original Deliverance.
Who did they think you were? John Voight or something?
Not Voight. Some other, I don't know who it was, but it wasn't me.
Ronnie Cox or something? I mean, it seems like, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know off the top of my head, you might have been in training camp when Deliverance came out. Or is that an early 70s film?
No. I was gone by then. Yeah, that was later.
All right, so it's Blue Chips, Dutch, Wayne's World, which I'm assuming is not the answer since we forgot about it. Married with Children, Modern Family, or Little Giants. Or Little Giants.
Little Giants was a lot of fun. I think probably Modern Family. You know, although that's it, between that and Married, it's a toss-up for me. But the reason I lean towards Modern Family is because I like that type of acting better. I prefer letting things roll around me more. I like to underplay a bit. And in Married, I had to drive it. You know, I was like the boss. It was the kind of show that was big.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that either, by the way, and I enjoyed it, but I prefer the other.
Did Modern Family, did you need to have your arm twisted to do that show? Because, I mean, you'd already been there and done that with Married with Children.
Well, originally, I told them I wasn't interested in it, and it was before it was written. I met with the two producers, Steve Levitan and Chris Lloyd, and I said I don't want to do it. And they said, well, would you read it when we write it? And I said, sure, of course.
Okay.
So a year later, I got a script. Read it. I thought, oh, my God. It's good. I better do it. So I called my manager. He says, too late. They're after Craig T. Nelson.
Craig T. Nelson?
Craig T. Nelson. And ABC had a very good relationship with Craig. He had done Coach for them.
Yeah.
He did another show. It's failing me now, but he did, you know, a very good actor, did very well.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'll watch it. You know, I'm out of it. And kind of relieved, you know, because I really didn't want to do a half hour. And then a week later, he says, they're back to you. Why? Well, Craig couldn't make the deal, you know, as often happens.
Sure. Fell through.
And I said, make it. And he said, they're not paying you your quote. You're not the star. It's an honor. I said, I want to do it. Make it.
Did you know at the time that you'd be playing opposite Sofia Vergara?
Well, I knew I'd be playing opposite somebody like Sofia Vergara, but I didn't know anybody. When I showed up at the table read, I didn't know anybody there.
Well, we're showing a photograph of you on Eric Stone Street's Instagram account next to Sophia, nice and close, tight.
That was such a tough
with
day.
Stone Street said, Ed had a good day on the set today.
Oh, my God. When I first saw her, I thought, well, I can see why they hired her.
Yeah.
And I just hope she can just be a little bit funny. And she's very funny.
Yeah, and now she's married to a big Steeler fan.
Yes, she is. Joe
Manganiello is locked in on that. I'm sure he was twisting your arm for some of your old Steeler stories.
Well, when I first met him, he came on a set. We had a night shoot, and I met him. And, you know, he's 6'4". You know, he's a great-looking guy. So he walked back to where his group, and Sophia came over to me because we had to do a shot. And she said, well, you know. And I said, what are you seeing him? He looked like a goddamn avatar.
That's
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.